Hey guys, it's Carol. Today I thought we would talk a little bit about the reading preference debate that's been going on for a while now. For those of you who don't know what that is, there are people out there who think that a book is only a book as long as there's actual physical pages to it, versus those who like to read on e-readers, and that includes Kindle, Nook, any sort of digital reading device that we're dealing with here. Now, personally, I don't see what the big issue is, and I have plenty of friends who also don't see what the big issue is. Now, I've shown you some of my bookshelf. You've seen the Rage's Apprentice and Brother Band Chronicles stuff. I have all of the Lunar Chronicles on physical copy. I've got all of the Legend of Eli Mom Press series on physical copy with one small exception, and that's a one-off short story that is only available on Kindle, which kind of bugs me, but moving on. But I also have my Kindle. I've showed it to you before. I have a lot of books on it that I will show you a bit later, thanks to the fact that my computer also has a log of the ones that are actually on my Kindle. And I really don't see what the big deal is. Now, keep in mind that for a few years I actually had to commute for about an hour and a half either direction to school from home. And because of that, I had to carry a lot of stuff for a long period of time. And based on just how I am physically, I get injured really easily. And while I was still in school, I had a major back spasm that made it hard to carry anything, much less all of my English education major books, which includes a whole bunch of literature anthologies that I still haven't opened. But there's a lot that has to be carried if you're in any sort of English major. And I found it a lot easier to deal with a Kindle that was really small and light and not even a quarter pound heavy than it was to deal with additional physical books that remained heavy no matter how much of it you'd read, no matter how much of it you'd taken off. Like, for my hardback books, if while I'm reading them, I take off the dust jacket just so that that doesn't get completely screwed up. But while I was commuting to school for so long, I would take my Kindle. Unless I was rereading a series, then I would... Well, unless I was rereading a series that I only had in physical copy. When that would happen, I would make sure to take my Kindle along anyway, just in case I finished whatever book it was I was reading and still had X amount of time left on the train to get home. And yeah, I do still have a lot of physical copy books, and I do still love them very dearly. But it's a lot easier to let Michael get good sleep with a Kindle, especially because the one that I have has a backlight. Now, I'm out of school, but Michael isn't, so he still has to get regular sleep, get all the time he can to actually rest and recover for the next day, and he is kind of light sensitive, just like I am, so if there's too much extra light in the room, it's harder to fall asleep. If I have a reading light on for a physical book, not only does that keep him awake, but it's actually harder for me to actually get the right angle for me to settle down and fall asleep as well. Because I read in order to fall asleep, among other things. And with the Kindle, that makes it a lot easier because it's a variable light source. You can raise the light level or lower it depending on what's going on around you. You can keep your place fairly easily. And it's not like you're gonna lose your place entirely if you close it without marking your spot, because the most off you're gonna be is by a couple of paragraphs. With physical books, however, you do need some sort of bookmarking system. Now, there are those out there who dog-ear their pages, there are those out there who think that's blasphemy. People who have hardback books can tend to use the dust jacket in order to mark their place. There's the traditional paper or cardboard or whatever bookmarks that you used to get at book fairs when you were a kid. But I prefer book charts. Now, I used to get these at Barnes & Noble, but the one that was closest to me closed down because somebody was stupid. And I got these online, and they're just these little metal things that point at the last line you read, and they sort of have a friction hold onto the page. And I find them really helpful because they're not that thick, so it's not like they deform the pages or anything, but they differ in color just enough so that you can see exactly where it is in the book, and that makes it really, really easy to pick it up again. But to me, getting back to the main point of this video, it doesn't really matter how you're reading, as long as you're reading. And, you know, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for a physical book that I can very easily see the progress that I've made and very easily see just how much of it is left. But for while I'm traveling, for while I am, you know, sharing hotel rooms, because the convention that I work at is in a month from today as of the recording, it's just easier with the amount of stuff that I have to bring for that I just bring the Kindle along, because then I can just charge it up before I leave. I can make sure that I've got either new books around that I'm going to read or old favorites that I'm going to reread. Like, I just finished a bajillionth reread of the Emperor's Edge series. And, you know, it's not like I don't have to bring my dance bag along. It's not like I don't have to bring clothes for the weekend. It's not like I don't have to, I don't know, bring my medications and 8 million other things. And all of that while sharing the suitcase with Michael, because we have about 11 people sharing 2 hotel rooms. And yes, they're adjoining, but that doesn't mean that there's a larger space available. It's a lot harder to just, you know, bring a personal library with you, especially when you don't have a bedside lamp around. So the Kindle is going to make that a lot easier for me, because I know I'm going to need to cool down and settle back down after, you know, Friday night's private lessons, Saturday night's private lessons, and the decompression dance, and, I don't know, the 6-hour formal ball on Sunday. Like, I know I need to be able to sort of have my brain realignment time, and reading is what does that for me. So I'm not going to bring a physical book. I'm going to bring my Kindle. That being said, until I get a new work assignment, I will have plenty of time to go around and reread all of my physical copy books as well. A good read is a good read no matter what format it's in. And, you know, audiobooks do really well for a reason, as do Kindle books, as do physical books. There's no right way to read something. So can we just get rid of this debate and let people have their preferences, please? We don't need to go to war over how a book should be read. See you later.